All right. Hey, how's it going? Hard Talk Radio. Your host, MrDeadman. Co-host, Victor J. Pee-wee Amadeus Beowulf IV. And a whole bunch of people. Who are all these people? And why are they on my screen? What is it, the Brady Bunch? What's going on over here?
It's like whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. We got Kevin Kennedy, RJ Rolls, Natasha Sinclair, Mike Innenbach, Jason Myers, Ruth Ann. Did I miss anybody?
Denise is here. I'm here, although I'm incognito. I'm not on camera.
Whoa. Who's here and not on camera?
Denise.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why. I'm not on camera.
Okay.
As I explained, I live in a holler in Middle Tennessee, and if I go on camera, it lags so bad. I would make this even worse of a horror show than it is now. So, so just picture like the invisible ghost in this graveyard you guys got going on here.
I like that. I like that idea. You're the ghost. You're the spirit.
There we go.
You're the spirit of the show. Okay, Bernice, right?
Denise.
Denise. My bad.
Denise. Yep.
Denise. Okay. All right. So, you guys are all here for Fairy Tale Horror Show. You're all part of it. Normally, I talk to one author at a time, but this was a good challenge for me. I like this. I like this idea. Let's make it a party. Let's make it happen. So, let's go first. Sinclair, Natasha Sinclair, who are you and what do you do?
Oh no, why did you start with me?
Because you're the first one on my screen and you have a great voice. How about that?
So I'm Natasha Sinclair. I write stuff. RJ was kind enough to invite me to write for his fairy tale horror show, him and Jason, and they accepted my story, They Must Be Mental. So yeah, I write stuff, I edit stuff. That's me.
Okay. And what was the title of your story again?
Always time for tea.
Always time for tea. All right. Cool. What happens at tea time? What happens at tea time in your story?
Tea time in my story, things get a bit trippy.
You say trippy? Like mushrooms?
A feast of mushrooms, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's healthy, I think.
Mine was inspired by Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, loosely.
Oh, okay. Well,
Very nice.
I'm going to ask Mike Innenbach if mushroom tea is healthy. Mike Innenbach, is mushroom tea healthy, man?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mike, who are you and what do you do, man? For those who don't know.
I'm a poet and writer. I wrote Piper based on the Pied Piper of Hamelin.
Wait, are you wearing pants?
Sort of, no.
Oh my god. He's not wearing pants.
Right? I mean, I didn't know pants were optional.
Optional for me. I'm the host. Like, this is just a shirt right here. There's nothing. Like, Victor Beowulf has no pant privilege too. He's co-host. He looks like he's in in a room, like in a hostage situation there, like a Saw situation. All right, Kevin Kennedy, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Hi there. I run KJK Publishing, so we put out mainly horror anthologies. I've been writing and sort of subbing to other publishers for the last coming up in 6 years now, I think. I've crossed paths with most of the authors in the book at one point or another. We've shared sort of table of contents in one anthology or two or three. Similar to Natasha, I got an invite for the RJ Rolls. Sounded like a great theme for an anthology. So I wrote a bit of a mishmash with the Three Little Pigs and the Seven Dwarfs and Pinocchio and Humpty Dumpty and a whole array of characters.
Humpty fucking Dumpty.
That's cool. Humpty Dumpty.
Okay.
Legend.
That's cool.
Humpty Dumpty and Pinocchio, man. That's a combination I want to hear about.
Yeah, we definitely want to dig into that. Okay. Let's see.
That definitely helped.
Victor Beowulf, who should we pick on next?
Let's go with Jason.
All right, Jason, tell us about yourself, man.
Same guy I was a couple weeks ago. Author, editor, firefighter, dad, biker, RJ's bitch, basically.
RJ's bitch. So you're the bottom, or are you the top?
Oh no. He's 7'3". Just ask him.
Oh. Okay. All right, that's cool. RJ, well, how do you respond to that?
As long as he believes it, keep letting him.
Well, that's cool. And then we got Ruth Jagge. How's it going?
Hi, Jesse. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fantastic. Tell us a little bit about yourself for those who don't know.
This is actually my second time with you.
That's right.
I'm a more published author than I ever thought I would be. And when RJ invited me to this motley crew, I couldn't have thought of a more fantastic theme than twisted fairy tales, really dark retellings. My story is called Midnight at the Glass Slipper, and it's a retelling of Cinderella. But nothing that's currently out there with Disney, that's for sure.
Okay, that's cool. And then we got the spirit of the show, Denise. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, so I'm Denise Hargrove, and I'm a reader, and the only reason I think I have a story in this is because RJ bullied me into writing something for it. So, not that I appreciate it.
RJ, you're so mean.
He is. He's horrible. But no, I'm very humbled and privileged. Like I said, I'm not a writer. I don't consider myself a writer or an author. I'm more lurk around our Facebook group and just kind of hang out like I'm doing now. But I'm very excited to be here.
All right, it's good to have you here too. All right, so let's talk about this book here, Fairy Tale Horror Show. Is it a horror show, or should people get into it? Should people get a copy of the book? I mean, they don't answer. I mean, is it? I mean,
get a copy of the book.
It's a horror show, and people should definitely read it, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, so if someone gets this book, first off, how did it start? How did Fairy Tale Horror Show start? How did it come together?
That's a good question. I don't really remember where the idea came from. Just something probably spitballed between me and Jason. If we was going to do an anthology, we always try to think of something different that nobody else is doing. So take a fairy tale, twist it up in your mind, put it on the page.
That's good. Take a fairy tale, twist it up.
From the titles, it sounds like we got quite a bit of nice mixed drinks here.
Yeah, it does.
I'd love to know what each one of you have read.
Same here.
I think it's a really fun concept. I think some anthologists have done this previously, but they've not quite done it as gritty as RJ, and I think we've all twisted it in a way that's very unique and very gritty, and people should definitely read it. It's fairy tales like you'll never come across anywhere else.
Yeah, as I was reading everybody's as they were coming in,
I agree.
I got spoiled because I got to see everything first, and you guys are sick, all of you, and I love you all for it. Man, you guys are great. I mean, I couldn't ask for better. When RJ and I were tossing this idea back and forth to each other, we're like, again, like I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago, we were spitballing like, who do we want and everything, and then he started telling me the names of these people, and then he told me Denise was on board, and I know she says I'm just a reader, but girl, you are a writer, and you are fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's cool.
You're very welcome.
See, and I like how you're able to compliment like that. So, do you find that you guys as a group are very supportive of one another?
Except for RJ, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's mean.
Yeah, he sounds like he sounds like a bully. He seems
yeah.
kind of mean.
shout out. I gotta shout out Ruth Ann. Ruth Ann's our cheerleader, I think.
That's how you get results.
Right?
Yes, sir. Sir.
Yeah, Denise is right though. Ruth Ann is like the best cheerleader you can have in your corner.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at that tiara. Look at that tiara. Who wouldn't want that at 15?
Yeah, she's like royalty over here. She's probably like the most sophisticated out of the whole bunch right here.
Oh, definitely.
Well, when you're put up against Mike,
Have you read my?
Ouch.
What?
Have you-
Mike
have
is
you
great.
read my
Don't pick on Mike.
story?
Mike
You
Mike
read
is
my
awesome.
story. I'm not that sophisticated.
Okay. Let's get into the story, this anthology a little bit deeper here. So they're all fairy tales. They're all twisted fairy tales, but this is different from other horror twisted fairy tale anthologies. How? Like, what makes this collection of twisted fairy tales better, different than the others?
I think the writing is incredible. I think the creativity, the originality, the writing, and RJ really didn't give us any boundaries. And when you start to write something like this and you're pulling from classic tropes, you're pulling from classic fairy tales, it can be a challenge to turn them on their head and really make them into something different. Wait until people read this. I mean, I read constantly. When I'm not writing, I'm reading. This book blew me away. Every single story in this book is a standout. They're all just unique and dark and creative. And even if there's a lot of gore, or in the case of Miss Natasha's, stuff that we all think about, but maybe we aren't lucky enough to do in real life, it all makes sense in the story because they're so beautifully written.
Okay, that sounds good. But which story is the most messed up? Which one's the most
messed up?
Twisted,
I mean, you
messed
gotta
up.
Twisted, messed up. I mean, there's a handful of them. So,
well,
it's the funny thing is like she said that I didn't really give them any boundaries to what they could and could not write, and Matt Clark, who couldn't be with us tonight, and Kevin Kennedy kind of touched on the same levels. And it's weird that, like they got there all on their own, and it was pretty cool to see that.
That's cool.
Like,
RJ, you are
Matt's
right. Like,
well, Matt's is like a true blue Bizarro story.
Okay.
And probably you could say the same thing about Kevin's. It's there in the Bizarro realm.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
I think I'm currently reading Matt's new book, Coffin Dodgers, and I'm probably about 90% through it, and he's an absolutely fantastic Bizarro author. Who, it's my first time reading him. Obviously, it's his first novel, but I read tons of Carlton Mellick, who again, the guy's a genius. If any, he's read Mellick, Bizarro legend. And I found over the last maybe year, 18 months that nearly every single story I write now slips into Bizarro in one way or another. It's such an amazing subgenre that probably underrated, but I find that I struggle to write a story now with it going a wee bit Bizarro.
Okay.
I absolutely love Bizarro. Really, Jeff Vandermeer is fantastic. Jeffrey Thomas, the Punktown series, just blew me away. But like Satanberger, the original few Carlton Mellick, wrote everything.
As I say, it's another level, some of the stories that these guys write, and you wonder, and I tried to explain it. I was talking to somebody in work, and they said, what is Bizarro? And basically, I mean, I'm going back years ago, and I said it's just really like a kind of fucked up Alice in Wonderland for adults. It's so out there. It's these guys, these authors that used to get full of acid and write a story. It's their minds are another level. And I'm always looking for new Bizarro authors. Over the last sort of 2 years, I've started publishing more Bizarro stories, even though that I know that mainstream. As I say, Zoltan Comer's another up and comer that's absolutely amazing. Douglas Hackle, fantastic. The guy's a genius. I think more and more people are now writing Bizarro, which is great for us, readers.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, and Bizarro is pretty good stuff. I like. It sounds like writers like the freedom that Bizarro gives you. Like you're able to do a whole lot more. It seems like be very creative on it.
Yeah,
okay. Absolutely.
Now, the one who's the quietest is probably the one who wrote the most wicked story, and right now the quietest person in the room is Natasha, tied with Denise. Natasha, tell us about your story.
Denise is the ghost. I'm not sure where to start. Mine's is probably touches on the Bizarro as well, because it does get a bit trippy. And again, just as others have touched on, that was a wonderful thing about writing for RJ and Jason, was that there was really no boundaries or limits set. Because I find when I read a call or a proposition and there's lines set, boundaries and limits, I want to smash through them. Mm-hmm. So it was quite nice they didn't put them there, because when they are there, it puts me off a call. So I had a lot of fun writing this story. I was actually reading Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass with my kids.
Okay.
But this story is obviously not child friendly, the one that I wrote. So I went very much in the opposite direction from that. I just wanted to take some inspirational elements and then went down a bit of a crazy path with it. It was a world of fetish and cannibalism.
You said fetish and cannibalism?
Yes, a little bit.
Oh. So what happens?
A
little bit.
There's a little bit of fetishism and a little bit of cannibalism.
A tiny bit.
So what happens at the Mad Hatter's tea party? Do I want to know? I think I do.
Well, I think story there, Jeff. So the Mad Hatter's tea party is a bit of an initiation ceremony for my main character, Alicia.
Alicia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Alice, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of an initiation ceremony for her into this world as being a member of this
Interesting.
club.
Interesting. So off with your head for the queen could be different, could mean something totally different in your story? I don't know. I'm curious.
I didn't quite touch on the off with your head, but certainly the Queen of Hearts.
Oh, the Queen of Hearts? Okay.
The Queen of Hearts is a main character, yeah.
Okay.
As is Chess, I suppose. The Cheshire Cat was a big influence, and my Hatter character too. He was a bit of a conductor and a bit of a lyricist at the tea party.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Could you give us a little bit of a plot synopsis? Does Alicia kind of go into this world for her initiation ceremony? What happens there? What's the story about?
So Alicia is a young girl who gets into the fetish world. She gets into corsetry, and when she goes through her initiation, it goes down quite a literal route of steel boning, and instead of steel boning, we go down a human boning sort of route. So rather than having steel bones in the rib cage, we're talking about ribs on ribs. I'm not sure how much that comes across in the actual story. That was probably the start of an idea, and it then developed from there. I do apologise, guys, if I'm a bit... I'm probably coming across a bit tricky myself because it's 4 a.m. here.
That's okay.
Wait for 23 hours.
Hey, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. You probably you were at the Mad Hatter's tea party and you probably had some mushroom tea. You're doing a fantastic job though.
And it's always 4 a.m. or 2 a.m. It's always that.
Okay, so Victor Beowulf, who do you think we should pick on next? There's Denise, who's not even on the screen. She's the spirit of the show.
Let's take the spirit in the sky. Let's do the Norman Greenbaum thing. Tell us about your story, O Spirit. What's it about? I want to know.
Denise, tell us.
I like being referred to as "Oh Spirit." I kind of like that. So mine is about Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh,
And
okay.
the reason Rumpelstiltskin is when RJ reached out to me about doing a story for this, I was writing a paper on Rumpelstiltskin for a fairy tale class for college, because they'll give you a degree in anything right now, just anything.
Yeah.
And I wasn't real familiar with Rumpelstiltskin. I mean, I think everybody's seen it Once Upon a Time and stuff, but it just really, there's a rhyme that's the very first traditional fairy tale that he just stuck in my head. So my sports, I'm going to use the word traditional. It's kind of like your church going aunt was invited to this kegger, I guess. So my story is, it's not bizarro. It's not, anything like that. Because I am, but I liked it. I mean, like I said, I don't consider myself a writer, but I hope I did Rumpelstiltskin some justice.
I didn't actually know that this was Denise's first published story.
Yep, this is it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Definitely. And by RJ Rolls, when you mean that, what do you mean by that? Like it's very impressive? Like you thought she had been published before?
Yeah, if you'd read her story, you thought she'd been in other things. But I'd asked her if this was her first, or she'd told me something like that.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I wrote the forewords for a couple of our anthologies, for the Books of Horror group. But as for fiction, yeah, this is the first one.
Okay, and the Rumpelstiltskin. I mean, that's a fairy tale that kind of somewhat familiar with. But what happens in your story? Like what's? Can you give us a little tease about some crazy stuff that happens in it?
So, I think most people are familiar with Rumpelstiltskin. Spinning the straw into gold for the miller's daughter and her firstborn child. As his payment. But if she can guess his name in 3 days, she doesn't have to give up her kid, right? And in the fictional story, one of her huntsmen or somebody hears him out in the woods repeating this little rhyme where he says his name. And that little rhyme is kind of what got me. So when he tells him his name in the story, he rips himself in half. So that fairy tale to me already started out with a really good gory ending, not really for kids. So I kind of wanted to give a reason behind why Rumpelstiltskin would want this woman's child. So in my story, you kind of get a little bit of a tease of what exactly he's doing with these kids and why he's taking them.
That's cool. That is really cool.
The adrenochrome, right? I mean, that's what it is. you gotta get him young.
How did you describe this Rumpelstiltskin? Is it like a Warwick Davis and Leprechaun, or how did you describe him? That's what I'm picturing. I don't know.
I picture him always, they call him a magical helper is kind of the, label he's been given, I guess, by the Brothers Grimm, right? So I kind of picture him as like a little, not quite, abnormally small, but just kind of that little petite man. So in mine, he's more of just an odd character, but he fits in with mainstream society.
So like RJ.
RJ, yeah, exactly.
Okay. RJ, what are you doing with all the kids?
So he can go out and look.
Sorry. Sorry.
Put me on the spot.
RJ frozen for a minute.
I know, right? It's like, I need to come up with an answer. That's all right. I mean, this story is not based on a true story. It's not based on RJ. But okay. So he kind of fits in, but he's an odd character.
R stands for.
Oh, real. Oh, Rumple. You're right.
Stop saying the name.
Man. It's all starting to make sense
Three
now.
times real fast. Watch him disappear.
I'll chime in about Denise's story. I don't know if she intended it this way or even realized it, but the story that you will read in the book could be one of many stories in that mythology.
Okay. Okay.
Like, it's just a snapshot of many events that had been like that. I think me and Jason might have talked about that, but
let's see.
We did.
Tell me a bit more. What you mean?
well, like the story that you read, you could see this happening over and over and over.
I see. Okay. So what he's doing with what he's doing with the kids is something that's pretty real that people could. It's
almost like
it's
almost
true crime
ambiguous.
Thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's almost ambiguous. Like, it could be anybody, anywhere, at any time that this is happening to.
Okay.
And I threw in a nod to the Satanic Panic, and so kind of what he might be doing with his rejects might kind of fuel that also. So
it's very interesting. That's very cool.
That is pretty cool. Now, let's see, Denise, who should we pick on next? The Sky God or Spirit out there, the Spirit of the show.
Spirit.
Oh, Spirit.
I think it's Ruth Ann's turn.
Ruth Ann Jagge.
Yeah.
All right, tell us about your story, Ruth Ann. What's going on over there?
What's going on? My story, Midnight at the Glass Slipper, is inspired by Cinderella. But I wanted to make my Cinderella much more contemporary, a little edgier, and a little bit more downtrodden than just a scullery maid or a young girl reduced to being a scullery maid. So she works in a bar, and the bar is called the Glass Slipper. It kind of follows the line of the story, but what I enjoyed was introducing some characters. So, we've all seen the Disney version where the mice turn the dresses.
Yeah.
Peters and their Cinderella. Well, I kind of connected Cinderella to some very interesting characters. She doesn't have a godmother. She has a friend named Sparkly Ed, who wears sequin pants. And her mice that kind of take care of her and make these dreams of hers come alive are actually mob connected. So there's Joey the Rat and Billy Bird. So Cinderella has some interesting family behind her. She still has a hateful, miserable stepmother and two stepsisters. And I don't want to give too much away, but it evolves along the original storyline, but it's much darker. And there's a parallel story. There's a man named Walter Prince who owns a shoe store, and there are terrible crimes going on in their small community where women's feet are turning up all over town. So I
their feet?
try to make it almost a crime story in some ways. My Cinderella is named Ellie Cinders, and she's one of my very favorite characters I've created to date. I tend to write kind of strong, interesting female protagonists, and she's super cool. I went darker with this story than I normally do. I think I freaked RJ out a little bit. There's a character that Joey the Rat, and his name's Hamburger Mike, and he has a way of taking care of things. He's kind of a cleaner of sorts.
Okay.
So there's not so feminine, ladylike things that happen in this story, and I absolutely loved writing it. It was so much fun. Like I said, RJ didn't give us any boundaries. So when I started writing the story, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to torture people, and I'm going to cut people up, and I'm going to do all this nasty shit on the back end. It's honestly one of my favorite things that I've written. I'm just thrilled that RJ liked it too, RJ and Jason.
Righto.
So, in your story, there's a bunch of feet that are just piling up, like someone's sawing off people's feet.
Right. Somebody is acquiring women's feet. It's kind of a serial killer thing, and there are feet showing up in town in the park, and it's been happening for a while. But Ellie Cinders has to get ready for an event that her stepmother is demanding she show up at, or she will foreclose on the bar that she owns. It's all that's left from her father. She bumps into Walter Prince, and I don't want to give it away, but it involves a girl chained under the steps and a couple of thugs and a corkscrew and some power tools.
That sounds like a
glanced around at my husband's toolbox when I was writing it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a much darker Cinderella story there. You got feet just popping up left and right.
Yes, but it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
Torture dungeons somewhere.
That does sound cool. Does anyone drink beer out of the glass slipper?
Well, yeah, but he's a bad guy. But it all comes around full circle, and Ellie Cinders, my Cinderella, comes on top. But there is a terrible retribution for her stepmother and stepsisters, so they never bother her again because her guardians, Joey the Rat and Billy Bird, decide to do it old school. It's got a kind of horrific ending for me because if you read anything else I write, I tend to be a little more folklore-ish.
Okay.
I went there with this, and I'm telling you, it inspired me to go there again.
Sounds fun. Sounds wild. Sounds
it does. It sounds very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I keep thinking about Oktoberfest. I'm thinking that people are drinking out of glass slippers in this this story is pretty cool, man.
I would drink out. I would drink out of the glass slipper. I would do that.
Das Boot.
Das Boot. Yes. Das Boot. Yes.
Yeah.
So if anybody there has a fetish for feet, this is the story for
the bar. The
Right.
bar is called the Glass Slipper. So it's midnight at the Glass Slipper. Remember Cinderella? Everything's got to be kind of take place before midnight. So that was kind of like the premise of it. But like I said before, every story in this book is just a wow. I mean, I've never read anything like them.
That's good to hear. It's good to hear. I hope to get a copy. So, what about Mike Innenbach? He's been pretty quiet there.
I'm being polite and letting
It is.
He has reformed himself so much.
I've been in Facebook prison for a
Oh
while.
my gosh.
Well,
It's a
you're not in
lonely, dark
Facebook
place.
prison unless you do something great. I mean, if you've never been in Facebook prison before, then you're doing it wrong. Okay, speak freely.
Absolutely, that's how I feel. So what? You want to know about the story? Is that
He
what we-
tried.
Mike Innenbach, I want to know what's in your mind, man. But that might be a different stream.
Definitely, we probably need this for us for that.
Yeah, the therapy talk, the psychoanalysis of Mike Innenbach.
Oh God, that sounds horrific. I want to do it.
That's a good stream idea. Okay, so Mike Innenbach, tell us about your story and how it came about.
RJ sends me nudes every day. I don't want them. I don't like them. But every day at 8 a.m.,
Lies.
there's a naked picture of RJ in my inbox.
He likes them.
Yeah, well, and then just one day, instead of a naked picture, there was 3 naked pictures, and he had carved into his chest hair, "Will you write a fairy tale?" It was really weird. He must have done it over time. It was in the same spot, so I'm thinking he's been planning this for months. It's very
I was born this way, and it just worked out for us.
West Virginia. There's a lot of coal runoff or drinking water, so it's possible. Anyway, so he said if I wanted to do it, and all I had was the image. You ever heard of a rat king?
Yeah.
Where the rats they pile on and twist around each other and become this monster. That just popped into my head, and I was like, yeah, I'd do the Pied Piper, and just sort of came from there. I wanted to write a
Awesome.
despicable. Yeah.
That's very cool, man.
It's
The
pretty
Rats
much
King.
a direct continuation of the actual story.
Ah.
Did he do like Denise and kind of get into the Pied
It's
Piper
one
and
of
what he's doing with his
it's
children?
My favorite he's written.
I didn't go.
Not
I
so
wanted
much with
to
children.
play with bad guys, and I wanted
Okay,
to
cool.
have a character that was a bad guy, but was really. I wanted you to feel pity, but never feel for him. Really, I just wanted to prove he was despicable through and through.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't. There really was everybody dies, not just the children. It
Okay.
got gory.
You definitely played with the heartstrings of the reader with feeling sympathy for the Piper, though.
Oh, really?
I was
Kind of
gonna
being
say,
like an
this story-
outcast.
Yeah. Tell me more about that.
This-
How do we feel empathy for the Rat King?
I'll let Denise go.
Yeah, this story had a couple of my favorite lines. I call myself a quote whore. I love to just steal people's quotes and then tweet them and then keep them and think that they're mine. But a couple things that he says in here to describe the Piper. One was, he was just the filthy boy in a land of trash there. And I just think that image is just really amazing to think about that one. And then there was another one. I'm trying to scan quickly. Something about, oh, here it is. As his father shoveled shit from the streets, he would practice playing for the rats. I mean, how can you hate somebody if that's how they, you know what I mean? I get the
Piper.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah. I can see that.
That's my.
He had a rough
I
life.
dig those descriptions, man. Those are really cool.
Thank you. I don't know what to say. Whenever anybody's nice to me, I get real awkward. So thank you.
I'm trying to make up for Archie's weird chest hair promposal that he did for you, apparently. So just trying to make up for that.
Yeah, thank you. That's definitely. And the nudes still come though. The worst part was I thought I'd turn in the story and he'd quit, but now they're getting worse and more aggressive. I don't know if that makes sense, but very aggressive nudes.
Oh, that just means he likes it. That just means he likes the story. He wants more of the Rat King. Oh,
I think he's braiding me. I think he's tearing me down so he can build me into some image that he wants now. It's horrible.
Maybe he wants you to cosplay as the Rat King. Can you do that?
No.
Oh, well, you could try. You could shovel shit and play with rats.
His hair for you, it was touching. I think he really has a lot of love for you. So it's really good, man. Anytime someone shaves their chest hair to show how much they care, that's wonderful.
Yep. It's a lot of love there, man.
He's got inverted nipples. I don't know if that does anything to anybody, but it's really weird to me.
One's an innie, one's an outie. Okay.
And if he goes, he can change them.
Got a flat tire and a spare tire.
So this Rat King guy, like, what is the most, I guess, demented thing he does in this story?
Oh, he's sort of just a piece of shit, really.
I want to know about a shitty life.
I mean, he killed an entire village just because he wanted to see how to do it.
Oh, well, training, practice.
That's what it was, actually, yeah.
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 Got to see how to do it. All right.
That's the opener to the book.
And did he make it easy? Did he make it like simple, or did he suffocate him in shit? Like, how did he do it? I'm curious.
You're gonna have to read it. I don't want to give away too much.
Can you give me a tease?
You already got your tease. He kills everyone.
Okay. All right. That's good. All right. So,
Jason's been quiet.
Jason has been quiet. He's the only one has not been picked on yet.
Yeah.
Well, I did Red Riding Hood. But I didn't want your typical, I'm going through the forest, I'm going to go to grandma's house, here comes a big bad wolf, right? So I was talking to RJ about this when we first started throwing out the idea of doing fairy tales. And I said I wanted it to be, I wanted to test the waters for like a crime horror type thing. So I wanted my main character to be Detective Wolf. So, he's the big bad wolf, right?
Okay.
I think everybody at some point or another has had, the idea of going, we'll call it, say, going postal at work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just, I ran with it, and again, with, no parameters really with RJ and I, because this is our first anthology for our company. We did our trilogy, and we wanted to come out big with this this idea. So I'm like, I'm just going to get detailed and I'm going to get graphic. And he's like, all right, do your thing. Which, it's great having, him to bounce my ideas off of. And, so my main character, whose name is Kyra Hood, just not having the best time at work. So she does some pretty gruesome things. And
at the bakery.
At the bakery, that's right.
At the bakery.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting a really gritty noir vibe here, man. I'm picturing Dick Wolf in black and white driving down the road in a car.
Yep.
Going to the bakery.
Yep.
This is cool, man. Proceed.
Yeah. So she gets her her bakery, her just desserts. And then she goes on the lam. And they're better to hide than grandma's house. So I went with that, this thinking of her being, out hiding, and she's trying to not get caught by the big bad wolf. So we leave my story on a huge cliffhanger.
Very cool.
And then that guy with the cross-eyed nipples down there, he picks up with the same characters for his story, which actually goes to the Three Little Pigs. But I'm sitting here. You said I was quiet. I'm quiet. I'm listening to everybody here, and I'm just thinking back of reading all these stories. And RJ, I'm going to drop your bombshell. Are you ready, buddy?
All right.
So all of the authors that are in this anthology, I'm going to do an open call to you all right now for our next one that we've got planned. So if you're interested, just let us know. But we're gonna fuck up and twist up some urban legends next.
Ooh, okay.
Come on.
Sounds fun.
Okay. I think we got a couple on board, RJ.
Yep.
Yeah, I got to see this. Urban legends like the Chupacabra, Bigfoot, the Mothman.
Those are cryptos. Or
I'm calling Chupacabra now.
I'm calling black-eyed kids. That's fine.
Love it, RJ. You loving this, buddy?
absolutely.
Good. I'm a little disappointed though, because at 8:04 I get the same pictures, I guess, and he's getting them at 8:00, so I don't know what's going on with that.
8:04. That's when he's finished.
He's cheating on you, Jason. You're getting seconds.
No.
You got to get a Mike Inbox level there, man. If you want to get the primo RJ nudes, man.
Jason gets the forwards.
He always talks about how he's got these new lighting and new angles. It's the same damn thing, RJ. Every time it's the same thing.
Oh my God. He said earlier in the chat that he hadn't shaved, and all I could think is it's a myth. It doesn't make it look bigger. And then I see his head bald, and I'm like, what?
RJ, I'm going to send you a ring light so your nudes are better. Because if you're going to do them, they need to be good.
Oh, look,
Thank you,
there's
Spirit.
and that's the voice. That's the spirit of the chat. That's the spirit. It's coming.
If you drop a bigger bomb on these fools, RJ, just let them know the truth. They all get the same pictures. They're not special.
That's good. That's good.
Well, I'm getting up early hoping there's going to be something in mine because I feel left out, RJ.
Oh, well,
No, trust me, you're lucky.
well, there you go. Well, now it's going to be flooded, Jagge. Now you're just going to get a bunch of stuff.
Usually I just get Mike. Honestly, usually I just get them for Mike. But the kind of porn that Mike sends me is food porn because we both cook a lot.
Yeah.
So I get like recipes and I get things that he's pickled and sauces that he's made and pastries that he's baked for his children. So while y'all are just getting inverted nipples, I'm getting like stuff you could really see.
You're getting sausage and pastries. Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't sound fair.
Okay. So, all right. So with Fairy Tale Horror Show out, what's been the feedback like with Fairy Tale Horror Show?
Just came out today.
Now
we had 2 beta readers go through it beforehand, and then everybody that was in the book had a chance to read it too before it released. And of course, Ruth Ann, #1 cheerleader. And the 2 beta readers, they gave me some good, honest feedback, which we always look for. And they echo her thoughts and everybody else's thoughts that really this book has to be read by the masses because every story in there is a banger.
Oh.
It sounds like it so far. Kevin, what about yours with Humpty Dumpty and Pinocchio? I really want to hear this one. I'm very interested.
Oh yeah.
Well, I love getting a chance to mess about with somebody else's characters, and obviously these days you can only use certain characters for a long time ago. About 2 years ago, I had written a pretty brutal and erotic spin in the Wizard of Oz characters, and I called it a Tarantino Oz. And it was my idea. If Tarantino had done just some flash scenes, so I'd done it like that. So when RJ approached me, I thought, this is a chance to do something mental with some characters that I've never loved.
Okay.
And I think I was probably one of the last to send my sub in. I was running a bit behind with multiple things, but I knew I wanted to get something in before the finish line. So I started thinking about characters I wanted to use, and I just literally finished The Big Bad by Keith Trap Jones. I don't know if any of you have read it, but I mean, it's like The Big Bad Wolf, Pinocchio. I forget half the characters in it, but it's a lot of characters for nursery rhymes again. So every idea I come up with, I kind of thought, oh, he's touched in that, or he's used that character. And because I'd just finished reading the book, I thought I can't really use any of the stuff that he's used, because it might look like I'm stealing something. So I kept sort of bouncing ideas about it. An idea to write a story about the three little pigs being gangsters. And it developed into, right, well, who are they going to sort of pick on, what's going to happen in the story. And I wanted a wee bit of quick action, killing somebody off. So I'm not wasting anything. Quite early on, they kill Pinocchio because he owes him some money. He get a wee horror band. And it's quite a brutal death for the type of guy he is, a wee wooden boy. So I went for there, and they get into some fights with the Seven Dwarfs, because they just, they've got issues with each other. The Seven Dwarfs do their own thing, and the three little pigs do their own thing, and there's a clash. There was some violence towards Humpty Dumpty in the story, just because the three little pigs are widows and they wanted to hurt him. It kind of happens quite quickly, because it's a short story, obviously, so there's quite quick scenes in where they meet different characters and violence erupts, and it goes quite far, probably too far for any story. But that's a bizarre element of them all crossing paths in the one sort of haunted fairy tale woods. And there's wee sort of nods to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs for the Evil Queen, and just a general fairy tale. I wanted to put wee nods to elements of fairy tales, things that they generalise and they all use, like the Haunted Forest, or there's always an evil queen or something like that. And again, as I say, the story starts off with somebody telling you it's a bit of a gangster fairy tale story. Gangster movies. So
cool.
A Clockwork Orange is what I told you. It's a
mishmash of loads of stuff, and I was worried when I sent it.
Perfect.
I was worried if RJ would think I'd went too far, or if there was too many. I didn't want to write, as I say, I wanted to put loads of people in it with different fairy tales. So I actually sent it in. I'm quite worried that it may get rejected, but fortunately RJ enjoyed the story, and he picked it up. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to write, and it was great getting accepted to the book as well. As I said, a lot of the authors that are on, we kind of have appeared different anthologies together, and it's nice to see the same names appear on different tables of contents. Obviously I do one thing with anthologies, but RJ's been in anthologies with a few other people, so it's nice to get an invite to another publisher to work with them.
That's cool.
Well,
it sounds really fast paced, man. Like it's constantly going. You have a lot of stuff going on in the story, but it sounds like it all comes together. I like that.
I hope so.
So extreme violence. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
No, I was just going to say I hope so. I like the way that the ending sort of fell into place. I think for quite a dark story with lovable characters, it's got a kind of funny ending, depending on how you look at it. Again, that'll belong to the reader.
So, what the fuck does Humpty Dumpty do in a gangster story with extreme violence, and you're worried about it going too far?
Right.
Poor Humpty Dumpty.
He's Humpty Dumpty's an egg. You just
split up.
I always thought he was a tragic character, because realistically, if you start life as an egg there's going to be issues, you know, stuff's going to happen to you. So I just kind of thought, well, fire Humpty Dumpty in. He's not going to last long. Stuff will happen. And then I used him to tie up the ending. So it's I liked having Humpty Dumpty in the story. It's the first time I've used the character.
That's cool. That's cool. I didn't realize so much violence took place on Shrek Swamp, though. That's what it sounds like. Sounds like a bunch of fairy tale stuff together, a hodgepodge, but you make it work. You got Clockwork Orange stuff going on. You got gangsters. You got, man. All right. Let's get
That's what it felt like to me.
I love gangster and I love dark fiction. So, as I say, a lot of the longer I'm writing, the more probably confidence I'm getting to go a wee bit further with stories. And, you know, nobody wants a rejection. So when you start to get some acceptances, then you maybe go a wee bit further on the next story. And as I say, sometimes you might get a rejection, but I like taking things too far. Not necessarily in an extreme sense in every story. I like to try and do something a wee bit wild. And as I say, RJ thankfully picked it up, so we'll get to read it.
I'll tell you what, Kevin, as soon as your story hit the page, RJ, he immediately texted me, and he literally said, Humpty fucking Dumpty. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, did you read the story? I said, no. He goes, I just put it on there. And I started reading it, and I didn't stop. I was like, dude, this is just fantastic, man. Like every time, because he would get the alert first that that the story was coming out to us, and then I would read them, and he was already like chomping at the bit to be like, "All right, what do you think? What do you think?" And pretty sure after Natasha showed up in the page there, he said, "Make sure you read this one by yourself, while you're alone, while you're not around everybody. Keep the kids downstairs. Do not read this out loud."
That's good stuff.
Natasha was the first story I read for the whole anthology.
Holy shit, whatever.
Yeah, and maybe I should have mentioned it's a little bit sexy sometimes. Just a little bit.
A wee bit.
I didn't want RJ and Jason to reject it, so I might have held back just a touch.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Well, here's the thing, though. What I'm hearing here, I'm hearing absolutely no bad plots. I mean, they all sound really good. I mean, really, really good stories. I don't even know where I want to begin, honestly.
Right? I mean, all these stories sound really good, as Mr. Beowulf said. Let's see.
There's some more we haven't talked about because they're not on the show, like Matt's. And then there's Tara's. She did the Little Mermaid.
Oh, okay.
What's
going on with the Little Mermaid? What's going on? How could he twist up the Little Mermaid? What happens?
It was wonderful.
Mermaids start disappearing.
I'm alive.
Does she eat the man? Does she eat the? Okay.
Might be on something.
Oh, okay. All right.
But the story's called A Vengeful Little Mermaid, and basically her fellow mermaids start disappearing, so she tracks down what's happening to them with the help of the sea witch Ursula.
Okay.
And takes a little kind of bizarre twist, but when she gains her legs, she finds out and takes her own revenge after she finds out what's happening to her family.
Oh, wow. That's a much better version of the Little Mermaid than the, no, Dad, I'm not going to listen to you. And then, she makes a deal with Ursula, which honestly, I mean, Ariel knew what she was getting into, kind of, sort of. She made a deal with the witch, with Ursula.
Oh, yeah.
Ursula's a businesswoman, okay? She gave her an offer. She accepted.
That was by Tara Lascano.
Okay.
And then Lansdale, who couldn't be with us, he did his take on Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And it's called What Goes Into the Forest Never Comes Out.
Okay, wait,
that sounds nasty as hell, man. Nasty as hell.
He's got
Yeah. We had Matthew A. Clark's story, which I wouldn't tell y'all the last time we was on, but the title of it is Pinocchio the Wooden Hoe.
Okay, all right.
You froze up on me. What was the title?
Pinocchio, the wooden hoe.
Wait.
Oh, man.
Repeat that one more time for the people in the back. I'm not sure if they heard.
Pinocchio, the wooden hoe.
The wooden hoe?
The wooden hoe.
Okay, the wooden.
All right. Tell you, when RJ and I were reading the story, he wanted, at first he wanted to change the title. He's like, we can't have that, and like you had mentioned before, like it's got to be that title. I mean, it fits, and oh God, you guys got to read this book. You guys are crazy. I mean, this story. I'm like, is this going to turn into? Oh, and there's the twist. Okay, here we go.
Is he like a sex star or something? Is he like?
Yep, that's it. I mean, Pinocchio fell on hard times. He couldn't become a real boy, so he had to make a living the best way he knew how.
Don't say hard times.
He's a gigolo.
Customers probably make him lie like hell, don't they?
The ladies aren't impressed with his size, so he just lies. I don't know.
I'm a real boy.
I mean,
All he has to do is lie.
I'm not 2 inches. See?
I see what that aspect.
Bondage clothes for wooden dolls, but I'll be damned if they do.
Oh man. Told you I'm a grower, not a shower. Oh, that's truth. That just shrinks it.
It's genuinely quite tragic. He's such a nice guy, Pinocchio, but it sounds like he's abused in every story.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Oh. So, with all these stories,
sounds like an awesome anthology.
I gotta ask the question here: are there morals to these stories that you guys twisted up and demented? Is there some takeaway moral, a lesson for the readers?
Really.
I think the Pied Piper there,
There's a
the
lot
way they were describing it, it might have had a lot of undertones there. Seems like it's real literary to me, just based off of what she read to me, his samples of dialogue or the writing that he read,
Mm-hmm.
Don't give Mike a big head. It's just too much already.
Oh fuck,
Mike, don't take that. What is the moral of your story?
And then this guy right here, man. Oh my God, extreme violence, action, and grittiness. I'm imagining a lot of profanity. Fast
There's a couple
dialogue.
things.
Oh yeah.
There's a couple things with Kevin's story. I think he could definitely take that story and just run with it into a novel or a series with that whole thing that he started.
Oh, really?
Definitely. Yeah. And fun fact about Kevin J. Kennedy, he is the first person to publish my work in 100 Word Horrors Volume 2.
Oh, cool.
So that's pretty awesome. Without Kevin, you wouldn't have had me.
Because Kevin doesn't own.
RJ, about this, okay? Kevin was the first person to publish one of your stories. You were the first person to publish one of my stories, one of, I think, Ruth Ann's stories.
Tara,
Me
Natasha, and Denise. But I didn't know I was.
We published Denise's first story. Like, do not count out the indie horror people. I mean, we are.
Mm-hmm.
We're a tight-knit group, and man, you guys are, I can't keep saying this enough, but you guys are awesome. You have no idea. And Mike, like you were saying, I'm not just people complimenting you. Dude, you are phenomenal. Everything in your story. That was the one that RJ and I did not have to edit. Maybe like a comma.
That's not because of Patrick Harrison.
It's a great community, and it's nice to laugh. Oh, sorry, on you go, Ruth Ann.
Oh, that's okay. I was just going to say, I think I've read everything that Mike's written that has been accessible to me. And I sent him a message and I said, this is the best thing you've ever written. It's just that good.
I think it's talking about communities. I see it as indie horror communities. It's, there's plenty of people trying to get their work out there. And obviously, if you look at the last 5 years, as I say, it is a lot of the same names crossing each other's pages. And obviously, as I say, I always see posts about, yourself, if you're in book groups, every so often there's fights break out between certain authors or certain publishers or whatever that's badness. I try to sort of stay quite well removed, but it shows that we're not in competition with each other. Obviously, RJ's doing similar to what I do with the anthology thing. As I say, he's been gracious enough to invite me back. As I say, so we'll probably, as the years pass by, send each other invites and potentially end up in quite a few of each other's books. And again, with everybody that's on the sort of video chat, as I say, it's the same names that are appearing everywhere. And you can't sub a story to every book that comes out that you fancy, because you might be doing other stuff and time's limited. But it's good. It's always nice when you see you've had an acceptance when the table of contents gets published. It's brilliant to see a few friendly faces on there that for other books and things like that. So, as I say, as a close-knit community, and as I say, not everybody gets on all the time, but it's nice to see the same people pop up regularly. So, that was definitely nice. As I say, I think I was one of the late ones to sub, so I didn't wait long. I got my acceptance fairly quickly. It was great to see some of the names appearing in the book again. And I've not had a chance to read. I've been reading subs for a different anthology, and I don't read every anthology I'm in, because sometimes you get a kind of flow where you end up loads and you're busy writing other stuff or you're reading other stuff, and again, time's limited. But I'm dying to read this anthology. I love fairy tales. I love dark fairy tales, and but it sounds in other stories. This will probably be the darkest fairy tale book I've read so far. And I know most of the authors work for reading a short story and something or other. I like reading the same authors.
Okay.
Like them. It's good to stick with them.
That's cool. Yeah. I really enjoying the positive vibes here, the positive energy with this group. You guys work together well. It turns out some of you guys write really well. You make it easier on the editor. They don't really have to edit much, maybe just a comma. That's a good thing. Then you're very positive and supportive. Like, if you guys continue doing that, how long have y'all been working together? Is it y'all's first project?
Me and Jason?
No.
The whole bunch, all you guys together.
I think it's Denise's first.
That's right.
I think we've all crossed pages
I
in
think
different anthologies.
Yeah, I think I published with everybody else. Yeah.
Okay.
But
all right.
not together.
Natasha's my editor, so as I said, they're on KJK Publishing, which is predominantly horror anthologies. I don't publish novellas or novels or anything unless it's myself or a co-written novella. But the last few books we've put out, Natasha's edited, and she, for the foreseeable future, as long as she's happy, she'll be the editor. So we're working together in almost every book that I'm dealing with now, and she does my solo stuff as well. So me and Natasha work quite closely. Obviously, this book's completely RJ's, and we've just both ended up in it. But I think me and Natasha are probably in about maybe 10 or 11 books together for all different publishers across the industry. So I think everybody's paths keep sort of interlinking.
And indie publishing is tough. Indie publishing is extremely hard, man. And you guys working together like this, man, that's going to help you guys a whole lot.
I'll be honest, I didn't even he wrote anything. I just thought he was a professional model from all the nudes. This has been years I've been doing this to me. Years.
Mate, you have to stop talking about this. I feel really upset. I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one getting RJ's nudes. And to find out everyone else is getting them. Gutted.
He's playing you all, man. I know RJ's type.
RJ's a whore.
Hey, RJ, is our deal still on, man? Putting this all together, is our deal still on? I mean, I thought I was supposed to get some exclusive pics. If I find out I'm getting sloppy seconds, I'm not going to be too happy, bro.
That's a wait till 8 o'clock in the morning. Just
I was going to say, check that timestamp, Mr. 802.
I want it at 8 o'clock, okay? I don't want 8:02. I want 8 o'clock. That's all I want.
Oh, great. Now my phone's going to go off at 7:55 because I'm always going to be first.
Who's your always first? All right. This is good. This is good stuff. So before we wrap up, because it's fairy tales and horror, let me ask you guys, like, this might be kind of redundant because you might already might be based on what the horror story you wrote, but do you have a favorite fairy tale?
I never talked about mine, but it was Three Little Pigs, and basically what I did.
I totally forgot about it. That's because I didn't get those nudes. That's why.
Yeah, a little sidetracked. But basically, I let Jason write his story, then I just took where he left off and ran with it. There's not too much overlap between the two stories, aside from the Detective Wolf being the main character in both stories. I aged him up a little bit from where he was in Jason's story, and like he was kind of obsessed with the Riding Hood character in his story with her case and trying to catch her. So in my story, it takes on he's about to be set into retirement because he's aging out, and it's not sitting well with him. You're a lifelong detective. You don't want to, quit doing what you're doing.
Now, is he an actual wolf in this version, or is he? This is just his last name, or
he's a furry?
Yeah,
he's
just his last wolf, name. Right? He's very crime noir with these two.
Okay, so he's not a furry. Just making sure.
Yeah, like you asked earlier too, is there morals to these stories? I think the majority of them are kind of revenge stories. Like that's what mine is. That's Jason's is not, but mine gets into revenge because it's kind of like cop on cop crime. You find it's dirty cops. That's the Three Little Pigs. Swine of another kind.
Ooh, so that's the title, right? Swine of another kind.
Swine of another kind,
that's
and he comes to find out that his fellow workers aren't on the up and up as they always seemed.
Man.
So, really, the first line in the book is the last scene, and I just flipped it and started from the beginning right after that first line. So you know what's going to happen. Right from the beginning. It's dramatic irony, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dramatic irony.
Like a sort of like Pulp Fiction sort of thing, where you see the end, but it's the story, the journey of getting to the end.
Yep. Yeah, it's always about the journey. That's the best part of the story.
Now, there's one I have really strong questions about with the morals, and that would be Kevin's, where he asks you, is this going too far? What would be the moral of his story?
Don't screw over Humpty Dumpty.
As grim as it might sound, the moral of my story is it doesn't matter who you are, life fucks you. Everybody's fucked in that story. There's no winners, there's no losers, you're just fucked anyway. There's no matter the path you choose to take, life's coming after you. And then there's I don't worry about too much of the story, there's the fact that it might happen, kind of thing. It's just, life's fucking tough.
Alright, I like that more.
Yeah, with Kevin's story, just because you die a brutal death doesn't mean you stay dead.
There you go.
That's how you never know.
Yeah, your time's not up, you come back.
I love his take on the Seven Dwarves, because it's kind of like a revolving door with those guys. One goes out, another one comes in.
Snow White? What?
Basically, there's a lot of fights in the book. There's a lot of deaths, really, for the length of the story, and there's loads of bits. I don't want to tell you too much, but basically there's a fight, and Seven Dwarfs they lose a few of their crew. So as the story progresses, they tell you that it basically explains that they're just replaced. If Sleepy dies one day, they just recruit for a new Sleepy the next day. Basically, if you get a job as a new Sleepy, you need to take on the characteristics of your name. So the Seven Dwarfs that are actually in the story each of them could be the 100th. Each dwarf, you never know, so they're just replaceable. They're just there as kind of soldiers and gangs. But the crew needs to say 7 strong, the same 7 names, so you can just go and they'll hire. Much like most jobs, if you let go, you're just a number. Again, it was touching upon real life, where if you to die, your work will replace you within a week.
Okay, cool. I didn't ask. I don't think anyone's asked really. Is Snow White in your story? And if so, what is she doing? Or who is she doing?
Snow White's not the story. The Seven Dwarfs are in it, and there's sort of mentions talk about the evil queen. Isn't a character in the story?
Is she like a dominatrix?
There was just a lot of people crossing paths. You really, at that point in the story, it would have been a bad place to be. If you've ever been, if any of you ever, when you were younger, used to maybe sneak out and hang about some woods or a forest to have a wee drink with your pals before you were age, then sometimes you probably walk through some dangerous areas, and that's pretty much what this section of the woods is, the dangerous area. That if you'd ever been there before, you would know to avoid it because something bad would happen to you.
Okay.
Yeah. If Kevin's story is all about sometime in life's just gonna fuck you, Ruth Ann's is probably the best, where if you're downtrodden, there is hope at the very end. The people's gonna have your back. With Natasha's story, if I take anything away from it, it's gonna be
don't drink the tea.
It's gonna be the use of the name rabbit and what it can mean in your life. You can have your very own rabbit.
Okay. I mean, this is a family-friendly show, guys. I don't know what rabbit means, but I'm pretty sure it's bad.
Utter devotion. That's what rabbit means. Utter devotion.
I'll ask my wife what the rabbit means.
Google it.
Okay. All right. So that's cool. So there is some morals, I guess. You know, a lesson.
Take stuff away from it.
A little lesson, something to take away. That's cool.
Yeah. Jason's always be kind to people because you don't know what they're going through.
That's good.
Piper, pay your dues, or there will be retribution.
What about Denise, the spirit of the show? What about her?
Rumpelstiltskin. Let Denise tackle that.
I think it falls into the be careful what you wish for, what you throw out there, because, somebody's listening.
Yeah, like the government, they're always listening.
Always. Hey, but I do have to say this about Kevin's story.
Which, by the way, guys, I work for the FBI, and this whole thing is just screening. I'm trying to figure out who we're going to target next.
Show up.
I got to say something about Kevin's story, though, real quick. I did note some very good insults that I'm going to use in the future, and one of my favorites is egg-shaped cunt, because I do not think we use that insult enough in the States. Now at the top of my list. So.
That's good. That's good.
That is Humpty fucking Dumpty. You egg-shaped cunt.
I like that.
That's gonna be up there with like Tutti fucking Fruity from Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You egg-shaped.
I've used it in Scottish. See, in all my stories, I try not to. Sometimes I slip into kind of Scottish slang or Scottish dialect that nobody would really understand. So I always try to wind it back. But I like to slip wee sort of Scottish comments or phrases that we use in there every so often, and they're often picked out in reviews as some of the funnier stuff. But in Scottish it sounds quite rough, so I would say egg-shaped cunt.
yeah, I like that.
Best.
So that's how you say it, Denise.
You got to say it right.
That'll work.
That's good stuff. Okay, let's see. Any other funny quotes or I guess one-liners from the book?
We pull a million of them out of any story. Oh, I got the book here in front of me.
The Purple Penetrators from Pinocchio.
Okay, wait. Okay, yeah. You could have made this a game. Give us the quote, we'll pick out the story. But Purple Penetrator in Pinocchio? Is his nose purple? What's going on?
I think it's the most durable dildo on the market.
Purple
I think
penetrators.
that's like, I think it's the blue fairy. She dies, and when a fairy dies, they explode, and they have to protect themselves from the fallout of that explosion.
Okay.
And the purple penetrator does his job. Pretty sure that's what that is.
That's crazy. That's cool. That's cool. All right.
Oh, here you go. I found it.
It was like one more.
The purple penetrators were some of the most durable toys on the market. The tagline on the packaging: "Purple, exceedingly naughty, impenetrable system or penis." Purple penetrator.
Okay.
It's like if he didn't get that, he had to throw in penis to make sure he got it.
Right.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are going to do with Urban Legends coming up. So, I mean, after this is over, I expect y'all to just, get to it. Start doing this here.
That's right. Get to work, guys.
I got the idea for a third one after Urban Legends, and I'm really excited for that.
If we deadline-wise, Books of Horror Volume 3 is that first, and then Urban Legends, then.
Yep, that should be it. Like, I have every intention of getting Books of Horror Volume 3 out on August 13th, which so happens to be mine and Denise's birthday, and it's Friday the 13th.
And it's Friday the 13th.
Sounds like a great idea.
That's cool. That's cool.
I'm gonna try my hardest to get that out by then, and then probably September or October for Urban Legends, I would say. We're gonna do the open call. It's kind of like overlapping with each anthology.
That's pretty cool. I look forward to that. Like, when you guys are done with that, definitely come back on again so we can talk about that Urban Legend anthology, because it sounds really cool. Sounds like a really good idea. I'm sorry?
We need more people.
We need more people. We need everybody in the anthology.
Everybody.
This is not enough. We need more people on the screen.
We had 10. I think, RJ, what did we say, 15, 18 in the next one?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
In that ballpark.
That's 18 names.
It's going to be an open call, so it's a little different than this one was, where this one was invite only. So, 15 out of however many submissions you get, that's where it gets the hard part, which Mike just had to do, helping out with the Macabre ladies.
Ah, cool.
So,
cool. And then they can all come on. They can all come on here. We'll just have everybody on the screen. Everybody. It'd be great.
It might be a good idea then, if you want to. Is,
I actually think
these people here tonight.
I think this actually went well.
And then when you send out the.
I have to wish you good luck. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, you've dabbled in it, but doing an open call can be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
And I know Victor on Pee Wee Herman Beowulf the 19th and the 3rd writes too, so he'd probably do a kick-ass story.
Yeah, give Victor Beowulf in there.
Well, Books of Horror is open right now.
Cool.
I don't know.
Cool.
Books of Horror has an open call for another month.
Sweet.
It's already bigger than the second book, which was 500 pages.
You must get some amount of subs for that, RJ, and it's tough sometimes if you're writing and you're reading all the subs that come in, and you don't know about yourself. You've got a day job as well. I work a day job. Players are at top of the writing, top of the editing. Well, obviously Natasha does the editing, and you'll read all the subs, and it's time consuming. It's hard to stay top of it. As I say, that's why I kind of moved towards the invite only anthologies, which I bet within a year or two you'll be doing. But it's tough, and I know there's a lot of subs for the Books of Horror anthologies, so you must get some of it to read through.
Yeah, the Books of Horror is a little different. Because I have a good system after throwing the first two down to where I can get it all going quick for me to get through it. But with the Books of Horror, there is no real decline of a story. Like we talked about the first time we was on, where I did have to reject one story, but if there's a story in there and I can work with it, it's an exception. And that's, you know, like they talked about earlier, that's how I guess Natasha and Ruth Ann, Tara, Lance, Jason all started
That's
their
cool.
writing career.
That's cool. Well, this
That
has
was
been
the whole
really
idea
good.
behind them.
This has been.
Yeah.
I think this has been a really pretty good.
Yeah, but have you?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Ruth.
Oh, sorry, on you go.
RJ, have you looked at how many reviews that first book had? It's amazing.
Outstanding job you done with it, mate.
Cool. So, yeah, I thought this was a pretty good stream. You guys coming on talking about fairy tale horror show. It's been pretty fun. I'm glad you're able to share your stories. The crazy stuff, wicked, demented stuff. Definitely highly recommend to get yourself a copy of our fairy tale horror show. And definitely, you guys need to come back on again when you do the urban legends. Definitely. But we're very thankful for you having us on. Hey,
thank you.
I gotta say, I loved each
Thank you
plot.
so
There's not a
much.
single one that I didn't like. I mean, I want to read them all. I really do.
Yeah.
And another cool thing about this anthology, thanks to RJ, is that we got it in hardcover too now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they all actually lined it up to where they all simultaneously released on the same day, so that worked out pretty well.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Is this only available on Amazon.com?
Only the greatest and best place to buy your books.
Yeah, the only place now, really. Amazon.com. There you go.
Unfortunately.
Amazon.com.
Fairy Tale Horror Show. Get yourself a copy. If you made it this far, press the like button, share, and subscribe. You guys take it easy. All right.